Hello, everybody. This is Ken Raggio, and I'm the author of the book, The Daniel Prophecies, God's Plan for the Last Days. And I want to announce to you our next Holy Land trip coming up in October of this year, October 17th to 26th. The Holy Land of Israel. We're going to have a trip of a lifetime. We're going to walk where Jesus walked, see all the holy sites where all the famous men and women of the Bible lived and traveled. This is going to be a blessed pilgrimage to Jerusalem, its environments, all the region of Galilee, and most of the major holy sites of Israel. I'll be making a special emphasis every day on all the sites that relate to Bible prophecies pertaining to the last days. And I want you to go with me. We'll leave New York October the 17th on El Al Airlines, which is Israel's own airlines, and it's one of the safest airlines in the world. We're going to arrive at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. We'll meet our guide, board our luxury motor coach, and head to the Dan Panorama Hotel in Tel Aviv just in time for dinner and an evening of leisure on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. We're going to walk right nearby to the ancient city of Joppa and see where the prophet Jonah sailed to Tarshish, where Peter stayed at Simon the tanner's house. Remember, he saw the vision of the sheet let down from heaven, and that's where Cornelius' servants came and called Peter to Caesarea. After a good night's rest there at the Dan Panorama, we're going to have a fabulous breakfast, then head up to Caesarea by the sea, see the amazing place where King Herod the Great had his palace, his pool, the hippodrome, and the great Roman theater. We're going to stand in the Roman theater exactly where the Apostle Paul testified before King Agrippa, and where Agrippa said, "Almost persuadest thou me to be a Christian." We're going to see where Paul said, "I appeal to Caesar." We'll see the port where he sailed to Rome to his martyrdom. Then we're going to head to Haifa and see the gorgeous view of the Haifa harbor. We'll see the port of Haifa where some of Israel's military submarines are stationed, where I think the sea battles of Armageddon are likely to begin. Then we'll go straight to Mount Carmel and see where the prophet Elijah called down fire from heaven in front of Jezebel's 850 prophets. You will never forget this. This is quite an emotional sight to ascend Mount Carmel. Then we're going to go to the infamous mountain of Megiddo to see the archaeological digs where the ruins of 24 ancient cities are found, including the horse stables of King Solomon and the chariot city of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. From atop Mount Megiddo, we're going to see the expansive valley of Jezreel, where the coming great and final battle of Armageddon is going to begin. And I'll teach a powerful prophecy lesson from the top of that mountain as we imagine Armageddon taking place in the valley below. Then across the valley, you can see Mount Tabor, where Jesus was transfigured and where Moses and Elijah appeared with him as Peter and James and John looked on that day. Then we'll visit nearby Nazareth, and we'll visit Nazareth Village, which is a recreation of ancient Nazareth as it would have been in Jesus' day. That is an amazing experience. And we'll see the precipice where the angry men of the synagogue of Nazareth tried to cast Jesus off the cliff and kill him. And then late that evening, as we head down through Cana, we'll see where Jesus performed his first miracle as we approach Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee. And that is really one of the most amazing and memorable moments you'll ever have, your first sight of the Sea of Galilee. And that night in Tiberias, we'll stay at the beautiful Leonardo Hotel overlooking Galilee as we explore that entire region for the next few days. For those who are adventurous that night, we'll go out after dinner and stroll the streets of Tiberias and the boardwalk there on the Sea of Galilee. There'll be many interesting shops and cafes and places where you can buy souvenirs. After breakfast the next morning, we're going to go to the Mount of Beatitudes and see where Jesus preached the famous Sermon on the Mount. And on the shores of Galilee, we'll visit a place called the Primacy of Peter, where Jesus met the disciples after he was resurrected. You remember he cooked fish on the fire. We'll visit Capernaum. They call it the city of Jesus because that's where the ancient synagogue where Jesus cast the devil out of the man. And we'll see the ruins of the house where Peter's mother-in-law lived, where Jesus healed her of the fever. And we'll go on around the north end of the Sea of Galilee to Gadara. We'll see where Jesus cast devils out of the man of the Gadarenes. And at lunchtime, we'll go to a local Jewish kibbutz at Engiv, and we'll eat St. Peter's fish, which is fresh tilapia right out of the Sea of Galilee, caught that night before. This meal is also included with the tour, and we're going to see the agriculture and farming commune of the modern Jews in that kibbutz. Then from there, we'll take a boat ride across the Sea of Galilee, and we'll pause on the sea to have a small devotional service in the place where Jesus walked on the water and calmed the stormy seas. You'll never forget that. Then at the end of this cruise, we'll dock at Genesar, where you'll see an ancient boat. They call it the Jesus boat because it was dated back to Jesus' time. It may be that Jesus even saw this boat or perhaps even rode in it. Who knows? Then we'll visit an amazing new excavation at a place called Migdal. This is where Mary Magdalene lived. And we'll see the ruins of the ancient synagogue in Migdala and see an ancient pulpit where Jesus Christ actually preached in that pulpit. This is a mind-blowing sight to behold. And then we'll have dinner back at the hotel. I'll teach some prophecy classes a few nights while we're in Israel at the hotel and teach you some things about prophecy. And then after that, we'll go out for night excursions and see some delightful and unforgettable things there in Tiberias. Then the next day, we're going to go northward up toward the Syrian border to Caesarea Philippi. This is where Peter confessed, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." We'll see the headwaters of the Jordan River and see ruins of ancient pagan temples that were there and walk by the stream and the waterfall there. And we'll ascend Mount Ben-Tal and tour the old Syrian bunkers that where they had wars back in the 1967 war. We'll enjoy a remarkable view into Syria. And then we'll drive down from the Golan Heights. We'll see the ancient Crusader fortress known as Nimrod's Castle. And we'll finish the day, listen, at the Jordan River, where we'll have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be baptized in the Jordan River, the same river that Jesus was baptized in. And then we'll head back to the hotel for dinner, another prophecy seminar, and a night excursion again in the Tiberias area. Then the next day, we'll leave the Galilee area and head southward past Bet Shin and Jericho, Qumran, Masada, the Dead Sea, and that night we'll end up in the holy city of Jerusalem. We'll follow the highway through the Jordan Valley, past Mount Gilboa. We'll see where King Saul and Jonathan were killed in battle. Our first stop will be at Bet Shin, which is one of the most amazing of the ancient cities of Decapolis, dating from the 5th century BC. Bet Shin is the site of the largest archaeological excavation in Israel. We'll drive near Jericho and catch a view of the Mount of Temptation, where Satan tempted Jesus on his 40-day fast. We'll see Mount Nebo in Jordan, from where Moses viewed over into the Promised Land. We'll visit Qumran and see the caves where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. After lunch, we'll travel down the shores of the Dead Sea to the mountain of Masada, and we'll ascend by cable car to the top of the mountain and see the palace of King Herod the Great and the famous fortress where the Jewish defenders made their last stand around 73-74 AD. We'll see the fascinating remains of Herod's palace. We'll see the storehouses, the cisterns, and one of the oldest synagogues in the world. Then we'll visit the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth, where those who want to can float without being able to sink in the mineral waters of the Dead Sea. And then finally that evening, our motor coach will take us back up 4,000 feet in an ascent to the holy city of Jerusalem. Our first view of the holy city will be from Mount Scopus, where we'll get a spectacular view of the Temple Mount and the old city. We'll arrive at our Jerusalem hotel that night and have a fabulous dinner before heading out for a night excursion to see some of the sites nearby. After our breakfast that first morning in Jerusalem, we'll begin our day at the Mount of Olives with a hypnotic view of the old city walls and the Eastern Gate and the Dome of the Rock and all the intriguing sights there around. And then we'll walk down the Palm Sunday road, following the path that Jesus rode on the donkey. We'll stop at the Garden of Gethsemane for a lecture and a brief devotional service in the Garden of Gethsemane. We'll take time to reflect on this lovely setting. The 2,000-year-old olive trees still stand in the place where Jesus prayed. Then we'll travel around the old city walls and see the tombs of Absalom and Zechariah on the way to the house of Caiaphas. And we'll see a dungeon where Jesus was held the night before his crucifixion. We'll stand on the very same steps that Jesus walked up the side of Mount Zion. Then we'll go to the upper room where Jesus held the Last Supper and where the Holy Ghost fell on the day of Pentecost. If the crowds aren't too bad, we'll even have a little devotional service there. And then we'll visit King David's tomb that's down below the upper room. From there, we'll head to the Western Wailing Wall, where we can pray and leave written prayer requests in the crevices of the wall. We'll go underground and see the rabbinical tunnels where we can see the ancient walls of Jerusalem from King Solomon's time. Then we'll go to the Pool of Bethesda and the Church of St. Anne. We can sing a song in a church that has a 10-second echo. That's a pretty neat deal. We'll depart the old city through the Lion's Gate, and we'll end the day's excursion in the city of David. We'll see the Palace of David and some of the newest excavations in Jerusalem. This is a fascinating place. Then after dinner, we'll have a prophecy class at the hotel, and then we'll go out on a night excursion. We'll drink some of the world's best hot chocolate at the Aroma Cafe just outside the Jaffa Gate. And if you want to, you can shop and eat in the gorgeous Mamilla Mall just outside the old city. And then the next day, we'll drive around modern Jerusalem. We'll see the Knesset, which is the seat of the Israeli parliament. Then we'll go to the Shrine of the Book, and we'll see the Dead Sea Scrolls on display. We'll also see the amazing scale model of the ancient city of Jerusalem from the time of Christ. After lunch, we'll tour the Cardo, the ancient streets that Jesus walked on in Jerusalem. You'll see the bustling heart of ancient Jerusalem and enter the old city of Jerusalem near the southern steps of the Temple Mount. We'll tour the Temple Institute, see all the furnishings that's been prepared for the third temple, including the $2 million gold temple menorah, the table of showbread, the brazen laver, the priest's robes, the high priest's ephod, and the plans for the third temple. That's an exciting tour. Then we'll go to the Lithostratos and see the actual streets of Jerusalem where Jesus walked. We'll see the remains of Pilate's judgment hall and the Ecce Homo Arch. We'll see where Jesus was scourged. We'll walk the Via Dolorosa, the route where Jesus carried his cross, and pass through the fascinating old markets and bazaars. We'll eat lunch in the old city of Jerusalem, and then this afternoon we'll visit the Garden Tomb, which is really the high point of our tour. We'll see Golgotha, the hill where Jesus died on the cross. And in the garden, we're going to have communion and worship the Lord near his empty tomb and sing He is risen. That's an emotional experience for most people and a wonderful conclusion to this really memorable day. Then we'll head back to the hotel for dinner and have some free time to explore nearby sites, including the King David Hotel, the Jaffa Gate, and several other things. And on our last day is a free time we can do and see just about whatever we want to. We can take time to visit any of the several special places in Jerusalem, pick up some last-minute bargains in the old city markets, or just relax. There'll be no wake-up call on the last day. We might visit the Citadel of David or walk the ramparts of the walls of the city or spend time near the Jaffa Gate and all the interesting places in that vicinity. We check out of our hotel that day, and late that evening, we'll have a special farewell dinner before we go to the airport for a midnight departure back to the States. We'll leave Israel late that night and be back in New York early the next morning. It's impossible to list all the memorable sights and sounds and experiences that you and I are going to have on this amazing tour. This is going to be a one-of-a-kind teaching tour. Some of you that follow me know that I teach an awful lot about prophecy, and we're going to tie together a lot of the things that we'll be seeing on this trip with the last day's prophecies. It's going to be an exciting pilgrimage, and I think you're going to enjoy every minute of it. I promise you, you will never be the same. This is going to be the trip of a lifetime, and it's only going to cost $3,560 plus tips from New York. This is a sensational price for a sensational trip. If you meet us in Tel Aviv from other destinations, you can buy the land-only package for $25.95. All these prices are based on double occupancy. If you want a single room, the supplement is $9.95. So don't miss this exciting trip. This is a 10-day trip from Israel. It includes all hotels, all breakfasts and dinners, a deluxe motor coach, a professional English-speaking guide, a cruise on Galilee, and many, many other amenities. And early October is a wonderful time to travel. It's not too hot or too cold at that time of the year in Israel. It's not too crowded either. So if you're a pastor who wants to go, I'll be happy to make a presentation to your congregation and help start a fundraiser if you need it. This will be a life-changing, ministry-changing experience. So please go to my website right now, kenraggio.com, and click on the link to the 2018 Daniel Prophecies Tour. Then contact me either on Facebook Messenger or by email, and then I'll get back to you with all the information that you need. You can be sure to contact me directly one way or the other, either by Facebook Messenger or by email, and then I'll follow up after that. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ken@kenraggio.com. That's ken@kenraggio.com. Give me your name, your address, your phone number so I can contact you and send you the brochures if you need them. If you send me your mailing address. If you don't have a printer on your computer, then I'll send all this printed material to you. If you do have a printer, you can just print off all the brochures from the website there. Don't miss this great Bible tour of the Holy Land. October the 17th, 2018, El Al Airlines. We'll be back to New York October the 26th on El Al. Using one of the best tour companies in the world, Ed Hill Tours. My friends Richard and Meredith Page, who own this company, have made hundreds of tours to Israel, and they have every contact. It's a great company and a great tour, and I promise you, you're going to love it every bit. So I look forward to hearing you right away. You can see the description on the video right here. The links are there. Click on the link. Check out the brochure. You can print out the passenger application right off the website there. Print it up and send it in with your deposit. You need a $500 deposit with your application, or you need to send at least $1,500 total by May the 15th to get into this tour. If you don't have a passport, go down and apply for it right now. Get ready, get packed. Let's go to Israel. I look forward to hearing from you very soon. God bless you.